if it keeps breaking down and you want to get rid of it overnight? You're stuck with it for 4 years.
Alright. Hold on. Alright, hello guys, it's Techno Caper here. Today we are going to be watching a webinar made by this one guy telling you how to get exotic cars for free. Well, not for free, like for a discount, you know. Oh, like a lot of discount. So let's just play the stream, the webinar.
Webinar to learn all about, how to actually lower the cost of an exotic car and make it affordable and in many cases profitable. So now let's look at my second secret, the smarter way to buy better cars and actually be able to turn around and make a profit.
Alright, let's watch it.
Now earlier I showed you this entire reason why leasing a car was financially irresponsible. And I used the Range Rover example as the first example, a base model Range Rover, a 2016 very base model entry-level car that had a 70K MSRP. Now here I'm showing you two very specific examples of what I consider to be the better Range Rovers. These are autobiography Range Rovers, all options, supercharged V8s, a lot better cars with a much higher MSRP. And you see these prices here, like these prices right here, $80,995, $86,995. But these, of course, are not the prices of the cars brand new. These cars brand new cost over $110,000. Yeah, about $40,000 more than the Range Rover base model we just took a look at a moment ago. Now, like I said, the retail prices, ranging over $110,000, but yet the purchase price of these cars could be as low as the Range Rover Sport we just saw on my previous slide. So you could theoretically be buying cars right here listed for $81,000 and $87,000 for about $70,000. Now, the benefit of buying a $70,000 $87,000 car for only $70,000 is the fact that you actually have to understand that this car originated, again, this is a 2016 you're looking at on the first example, and the retail price for this car less than 7 months ago, brand new, was $110,000. And now you're able to purchase this for $40,000 less. I'm sure you've heard when people say you leave the lot, the car immediately depreciates, right? Like, well, this is what you're not the sucker getting fooled for. Here you're able to actually be the person to take advantage of this rather than be consumed by it like most average car buyers who don't understand the difference and don't understand why cars depreciate. And so here on a brand new, like on a car that's literally the same year as brand, you're able to actually get it for $40,000 less. And as a result of that, because of this huge discrepancy between the MSRP and what you're paying for it, you're actually able to get it and get a bank to finance you with zero down and costing you only $1,150 per month. And this is no longer assuming you have an 800 plus credit score, but rather a 680 or above. So A, it's more accessible. B, you're getting more car for the money. And C, you're not upside down on your car the moment you drive off the lot. You're actually in a positive equity position without actually putting a dollar into the car. And then your finance terms, thanks to low interest rates, you're able to actually get financing for 72, 84 months.
Alright, I'm just testing that.
Rates, so you don't even have to use your cash. And that is the key. The key is to be able to get long-term financing. Just like I teach you in Exotic Car Hacks with all of these lenders that, we've pre-selected for you, so that you can actually get these zero down deals, 72, 84 month financing for very low monthly payments, which don't matter because these are simple interest loans, so you're only paying the interest per month, not ahead. So payments you're making towards your car are going towards your actual principal balance, not your interest. And very few dollars are going towards the interest. And even though you are stretching this loan, you're barely going to keep this car for a year because you're going to get bored and you're going to want a nicer car. You want to go from a Range Rover to a G-Wagon. You're going to want to enjoy yourself, and you're going to be able to do that without actually losing any money. Because within the next year, as you enjoy your Range Rover, your latest, highest MSRP level Range Rover Autobiography Supercharged V8, you're going to be able to actually post it and get rid of it using my strategies for $75,000. Meaning that you're going to have a $5,000 upside right from the beginning on this car. I told you earlier, you're going to be driving off the lot and you're not going to be in an upside down position. And this is going to be your opportunity to actually be in a positive position without using any of your dollars. So right away, you're going to be in an opportunity of a $5,000 profit immediately. So I just wanted you to understand this because I wanted you to understand apples to apples so that you can understand how even if leveraging the exotic car hacks methodology on something as simple as leasing a Range Rover versus buying it using the exotic car hack strategy, you are still in a better position, significantly better position, without no restrictions and with profit in your pockets for driving the exact same car you're about to walk into a dealership and lease. And the best part is, again, remember, these are newer cars and these cars are still completely under warranty. So we're not asking you to go buy a very old car that doesn't make, that's going to break down and leave you with a lot of repair costs. We're asking you to buy the exact same car you were going to walk in and lease anyways. But just using our strategy, buy the correct one and buy the correct way. Now, I wanted to do this for you as we segment into the next kind of thing because I've always said that exotic cars have obviously even more leverage than luxury cars. But since I wanted to offer this example of Range Rover next to Range Rover Autobiography, I wanted you to take a look at this chart right here that I've created. It's a very simple chart and it shows you 3 essential cars. The first Range Rover lease we talked about. The second, the Range Rover Autobiography that I liked, that I said is a fully loaded, top of the line car, the one that you want. And then finally, a Maserati Gran Turismo that was actually my personal car. This was one of my personal daily drivers for a few months. And I want to show you these numbers so that you can start putting some perspective and gain some awareness on how the system works. The MSRP of the car, which is what the car costs new, you can see here that your base model Range Rover we said was going to be about $70,000. The Range Rover Autobiography we looked at was $110,000. And my Maserati Gran Turismo was $140,000 brand new. Now take a look at the purchase price here. The Range Rover lease the car costs $70,000. You're buying it for $70,000 simply because it's a lease and you only care about your payments, not necessarily what the purchase price of the car is. On the other hand, look at the Range Rover Sport Autobiography. Again, like we said, you're buying it for $70,000, but it's a $110,000 car. So look at the additional value you're getting here. You're paying, look at this, you're paying like about 70% of what something's worth, right? And it's the better version of what you were willing to pay 100% of with the lease. So again, understand things this way. It's not about your monthly payment, it's about the value you're getting. And in this case, you're getting a better truck with the same warranty and with a lot more options, and it's going to cost you nothing. But nonetheless, let's keep going and let's look at the Maserati Gran Turismo. We said the Range Rover Sport Autobiography was 70% of the retail price, right away. Now let's look at the Maserati Gran Turismo. $64,000 was my purchase price. The car was $140,000. Now I'm buying an exotic car, still under warranty, that's still perfect in every way, no different than the latest one on the market today. I am paying more than 50% off the actual MSRP, more so. So I'm paying about 40 cents on the dollar to buy a Maserati Gran Turismo, which means theoretically my Maserati Gran Turismo costs less than the Range Rover Sport Autobiography and the base Range Rover Sport lease, but that car is, once again, completely 100% under warranty. Now the down payment that you're required to put up on the lease was $5,000. The down payment on the Autobiography was $0. And the down payment on the Maserati didn't have to be $5,000, but I chose to be $5,000. Here are the way the payments work. $800, $1,150, $980. So you see right away, you can already see that this isn't even your cost of ownership, this is just the payment you're paying. But look at this, you're paying $800 a month for Range Rover base, you're paying $1,150, yes, it's more money, for an actual Autobiography, but you're not really paying it, you're just transferring it to yourself. And look, the Maserati Gran Turismo is only $180 more than the actual base Range Rover Sport lease. And this is a top-of-the-line Gran Turismo Sport with HRE wheels, lowered with exhaust, and all the goodies that you absolutely want to have on the Maserati Gran Turismo. And you're talking about $980 a month. Now, most of you can afford a $1,000 car payment, but this isn't what this is about, because I'm going to show you how you're going to actually get that back. With the Range Rover lease, you're paying, you're not selling the car, you're returning the car. And your total payments that you made to the dealer was $39,000, meaning that your total cost of ownership was roughly $13,000 a year. Meaning you have lost $13,000 each year you drove a base model Range Rover that no one paid attention to. Now, if you drove the top of the line Range Rover, the Autobiography Sport V8 using the exotic car hack strategy, then you sold the car on your own for $75,000 using our incredibly advanced way of selling cars. And as a result of this, your total payments that were made in the car were $13,800, meaning with your $1,150 that you paid, right? You paid that payment every month. You paid technically $13,800 in the car, right? So that should technically mean that you paid technically more than the Range Rover Sport. But you didn't, because in this case it's not a lease. All you were paying was the equity of your car down. So now that you go sell it for $75,000, well, you bought it for $70,000. And now, remember, you didn't put any money down. So your loan by this time is roughly $60,000. So when you go and actually sell your car for $75,000, guess what happens? While you may have profited $5,000 from the deal, you're actually getting back all those payments you had made because they had gone into your equity. So the only real thing you lost was the little bit of interest you paid month after month on each of these payments, and that's it. But you got your $5,000, so you offset that too. So regardless that you want to look at the scenarios, you drove it for free or you drove it for a profit, it makes no difference because you didn't lose $13,000 like that guy did on the base model Range Rover lease. Now, if we go to the Gran Turismo, it gets even better because it's about margins. And in this case, this was an actual case study. This is a step-by-step case study found on the Exotic Car Hack site. In this case, the car was sold for $74,900. The payments made in this car, $11,760, meaning how much the $980, throughout the year ended up costing. Again, this costs less now, per month than both of the other ones, right? But again, you didn't lose anything because the car that I had, I sold for $9,500 more than I paid for. And what does that mean? That means that not only I got my payments back, but I got a lot of money back in my pocket. Now, how is this possible? Let's kind of understand the logistics behind these three deals. There's a correlation here. And I teach you all of this about depreciation charts and everything else in Exotic Car Hacks, but for now, I just want you to pay attention to this very important detail here. Look at the MSRP of the cars and look at the purchase price. And as a result, understand that the bigger the margin, the bigger the car has depreciated, the more opportunity there is on play between what we call asking and selling price. And this is important because remember, at the end of this, I told you would get a free lesson from me on asking versus selling prices. And so I want you to understand how margins play into this, which is why I'm bringing this to your attention right now. That when you're buying a $140,000 car for $64,000, there's more margin of resale and there's more margin to enjoy. And so that's kind of a lesson here and what I wanted you guys to understand with this. Now, right here, I just told you about the Maserati Gran Turismo case study that we have at the Exotic Car Hacks. I wanted to break it down a little bit further and with actual documentation so you can really understand the difference between a lease here for the exact same car and a purchase again. If you look at the top, again, this is the same exact car, not the exact one. What I'm saying is this is a similar car with similar miles and just a similar, it's a comparable car to the one that I purchased, sold at a different dealership. You look at their asking price of $74,988. You look at the monthly payment of $1,185, right? And you see here that you have they're quoting 60 months as 6.9, and they're requiring $15,000 down. Now compare this to where I was with my particular car, right? Look at the bottom here. You have the Maserati Gran Turismo S. The retail price is the same on both cars because they're similar vehicles. My car was even nicer with HRE, suspension, and exhaust. But then here, look, my purchase price was only $64,000, $10,000 less than the advertised price. Now, using my strategies, I brought my asking price that was also similar to the $75,000 here to $64,000. Then I've made a payment of $5,000 down, where they required $15,000, I put only $5,000 down. And my payment was only $980 per month, and theirs was listed at $1,200 per month. My finance terms were 84 months at 7%. You're looking at my actual sheet with my VIN number right there. And you see again, the main thing to understand here is that you'll see here on the sheet, it says the finance charge and the amount financed. Now understand this, the finance charge is irrelevant because these are simple interest loans, meaning that you're not paying the entire finance amount first. You're simply paying a percentage of that amount divided into the equal amounts of payments you have. So let's assume you have, for example, a $1,500 payment as an example, or let's say use the same example here as a $980, 200 or so of that would go to interest, the rest of it will go towards your principal. So the majority of it still goes towards your principal. Now, the finance terms here at 84 months at 7%, my selling price is $75,000, similar to what this other car is selling at this dealership, and therefore I am stealing the dealer margin, profiting the $9,500 instead of allowing them to be that person. So I wanted you to understand this because I wanted you to see right on a site like how using my strategies I'm able to bring a car down way below what the dealer margin is, so taking and stealing ultimately what the dealer would have been able to make on the car and becoming the person to act as the dealer, enjoying the car for a period of time while finding the right buyer, once again using these very specific strategies that help make the process flow better. Alright guys, so here we are with the third secret, the top tax loopholes that will allow you to write your entire car off. Things that people are not talking about. We're not talking about business usage and writing off your mileage. We're talking about a really secretive way that people have been getting away for years, writing off entire cars, entire exotics, no matter what they cost. Make sure you check with your accountant first, because we want to, of course, make sure you're not doing anything illegal or anything that is going to be considered bad for you. So make sure you check with your accountant if this strategy can work for you. Now, let's take a look here at this tax depreciation chart here. Most people realize that obviously SUVs, trucks are obviously going to depreciate more than basic luxury or exotic cars, primarily because of the way most people have always understood that the heavier these vehicles were, the more they were considered utility vehicles, and ultimately the IRS code allowed for more depreciation on the car on the front side, meaning during year one, than any other year. Now, traditional tax write-offs, meaning that in the typical term of what a tax write-off for a car was, the IRS would only allow you to write off a vehicle based on its weight, so it would provide it a classification, and then it would go ahead and tell you what mileage obviously you've used for the year and things of the sort to help facilitate the cost of what it allows you to write off. Now, there was different deduction limits for vehicles that weighed less than or greater than 6,000 pounds. And remember that the IRS cannot tell you what you can or cannot write off in terms of the make, model, or what you appreciate or not appreciate about a car. Meaning that the IRS can only tell you based on its code what is legally doable, meaning if it's a 6,500 pound vehicle, what it falls under, and if it's a 4,000 pound vehicle, when it falls under. You cannot use the fact that you drive a Mercedes versus a Ferrari as a reason why something can or cannot happen. And normal leases can write off mileage or payments relative to business use, because obviously they are not ownership, they're ultimately entire interest payments. Now, the smarter tax write-off, the way that we at Exotic Car Hacks teach people to write off their cars, is to move cars from personal use to business as a business asset, not necessarily as a business vehicle. That said, is we consider cars to be a form, a tool, no different than a printer is to an accountant. For us, a car is similarly a tool that we use, and that is why it is a business asset. And as a result of taking that, you do not have to own the car under your business. You do not have to have owned it first under your business. You do not have to have it financed under your business to take advantage of this. We teach you all that. You determine the value of the car at the time of move, not what you paid for it. So you could have paid actually less than what the car is worth at the time you moved it into your business. If you are following our list of incredible exotic cars that appreciate, not depreciate, then you already know which direction to go in terms of making sure that you get the most value and most appreciation for your car. You can depreciate the car for marketing use over a 5-year depreciation schedule, and you can take some of that depreciation, most of it in the first year, because it's an asset. Now, it can still, like I said, be under a personal loan, and you get to write off every part and repair that comes with it. You also get to write off loan interest, which was that payment we talked about that you get back anyways, but you still get to write that off during that time, which is, again, an additional plus, because earlier, the example I gave you with the Maserati, the Range Rover, and the Range Rover Autobiography had zero combined dollars that came from tax write-off, meaning those examples did not include any aspect of writing off the car. These dollars were the simple transaction in itself, and not all the extent of which you can take this program to. But I just wanted you to understand that. So here's what we've covered. We've covered why leasing a car can actually be dangerous. We've covered the smarter way to buy better cars, and I've showed you side by side the difference between a lease, a better version of the same car using our strategy, and then an exotic car right next to it. And we've looked at the top tax loophole that will allow you to write your entire car off. So now, let me enable chat real quick, and I'm going to ask you a question. I want to know, what car do you want to buy? So I want to hear from you guys. I want you guys to tell me, what car do you want to buy? Go ahead and put in the chat what car, so I can kind of understand how to do the rest of this webinar focused around some of the things that are important to you guys. McLaren F1, I love it. What kind of McLaren? R8, Gallardo. Ferrari FF. More R8. Looks like the R8 has a lot of support like it always does. 911, V8 manual R8s, Lamborghini SV. Okay, the SV is actually a good choice. The Huracan. Man, Law loves that Huracan. The 991. Okay, very cool, guys. The California, good choice, Steve. Very cool. I understand the kind of range of dollars you guys are looking at. I'm glad someone brought up the i8. That's an actual really good car for this. The G63, I've done a lot of them with this program. It's very easy. The California and the Huracan are good cars to do this. Josh likes the LFA. I have an LFA right now, and it's actually going to be released really soon to the public. I'm going to start showing it to you guys. 2014 Maserati, very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, Rolls-Royce Phantom. Rolls-Royces are actually good cars too. So let me carry this on, and I kind of understand what kind of cars you guys are looking at. Very, very cool. So, if a shortcut existed that told you what cars to buy at what price and how to buy them so that you never lose money, would you actually be interested? You mentioned a lot of cool cars. But what if there was a shortcut to actually getting into these cars, these exact ones you guys are mentioning, and would you be interested in knowing the shortcut? Go ahead and put yes in your box, because I'm going to share that with you. All right, I'm getting a lot of yeses, so I guess there's a lot of smart people on this. I get it, I love it. So lots of smart people on here, and they want to know the shortcuts, because why wouldn't you? If someone else has done all the work, you don't have to put in the work to figure out the same trial and error. Why not? These guys know the shortcut. And they know it because obviously they've learned it from somebody, and that somebody happens to be me. But they really understand the shortcut to getting into an exotic car. And I want to share who these guys are with you. Jay Archer bought his first exotic car, an Aston Martin Vantage V8, well equipped with the better 4.7 liter engine, not the original 4.3. And these are photos of him after he made his post, because he was so excited about getting his exotic. He goes, "What's going on, ECH fan? I want to thank Pejman Gadimi," that's me, "for sharing such powerful knowledge that allowed me to be able to own my very first extremely rare Aston Martin Vantage V8 4.7 liter. This car is by far one of my favorites. Its elegance and performance is indescribably great. Now, why would he say his car is great? Because it's a 6-speed. It's hard to find, and he was super excited to have been able to find that with that color. So he had it documented all the way from the time he showed up from the airport to picking up his car. Really excited, and it's good to see people like that getting into these cars. Hunter picked up a stunning Audi R8 at a phenomenal price that will allow him to drive the car completely free. Not to mention, he did it right going with the 6-speed manual. Again, these 6-speed cars, you have to have a 6-speed car, but these 6-speed cars are popular, especially in some of these brands and makes. And so here, Hunter is saying right on his Facebook, here she is delivered yesterday, a 200 R8, 6-speed, 19,000 miles all in, meaning all of his taxes and everything in at 70,500. And after buying 4 tires for this Ohio weather, I think a fantastic deal on an R8. I mean, where else can you find an R8 for like $600-700 a month? That's crazy, right? So anyway, I just wanted you guys to kind of see this because I enjoy it when I hear members get into their first exotic cars. Sebastian proved that you don't need to jump right into an exotic car to use our strategies. I showed you this earlier with the Range Rover, but here he bought his C63 AMG, which is one of the best bang for the buck for the dollar. I mean, this is the price of a Honda Accord these days. So here's what Sebastian says. Thanks to what we learn on the site, on the forum, and to the advice from PJ and Frank, another member of Exotic Car Hacks, I made the move on the sweet 2009 C63 steel gray metallic on white interior with low miles. Don't rely on pictures below. The car just arrived a little dusty and the pictures won't be the ones for the sale either. Laugh out loud. So again, it's exciting to see members getting into exotic cars, luxury cars, and understanding the process. I mean, this guy's got the right mindset, right? He's like, I'm ready to sell the car as soon as it comes in. Like, I'm going to drive it, enjoy it, and flip it and make some money off of it. So that's the kind of stuff that just gets me excited in the morning. Now, I got to ask you a question because you've been watching me, you've been listening to me, you've been hearing everything about exotic car hacks and everything else. And so the question that has led up to where we are now is, would you rather be the guy getting a lease for a Volkswagen CC with $359 a month, 36-month lease, $3,000 due at signing, and you get to drive a CC? Or would you rather be like one of our students and drive an Audi R8 for free? And I use the R8 because it's such a great car. It's such a popular, incredibly good car that works so well with all the systemology and everything I teach. So would you rather lease a Volkswagen CC and lose $359 per month, or buy and drive an Audi R8 completely free? And if I could show you how to do that, like, would that be something that you would love to hear about? This is really the question you got to ask yourself. Is knowledge is power, right? You're gonna have the knowledge to know and understand exactly why buying and driving an Audi R8 for free just makes sense. And the key here is not because it's a magical system, it's because it's a lot of experience, it's a lot of systemology and just understanding loopholes and everything in between that went into creating exotic car hacks to help you do that. So I want you to really reflect on this question for one more second, and then I'm going to present you with something. So would you rather get into this Volkswagen CC for $359 a month, $3,000 due at signing, or this Audi R8? Let that sink in. So now that you've had a second to reflect on this idea of if you'd rather have a Volkswagen CC or an Audi R8, I hope, and I would hope, that everyone on this webinar right now selected the Audi R8. Because if you want a Volkswagen CC, if you want to be average, then you need to get off the webinar because there's nothing more for you to learn here. If you want to be another sheep that's following what everyone else is doing, get back out there, find the next lease deal on TV or in your newspaper and go buy that and just be happy with that. Just don't wonder why there's people that are like 19, 20, 22, 25 years old driving R8s and they're not financially struggling to do it. Because this is ultimately what we teach at Exotic Car Hacks. So I want to welcome you guys to the idea of Exotic Car Hacks and share with you a little bit more about what this incredible platform is. We make exotic cars affordable. We teach you how to buy, own, and sell them for fun and profit. We focus on exotics, we cover luxury cars, and we do our best to help our insider members understand everything there is to know about the exotic car world. So everything from what dealers don't want you to know, to the negotiation strategies to beat the dealer, in-depth knowledge with some of the best buyer's guides on the market, and of course, insider information and depreciation charts on some of the more important models, the true cost of ownership of some of the best cars in the world broken down based on our own case studies. And of course, you get to continuously see me do a lot of what I've been teaching you over and over with different models and cars, and get to learn from my mistakes and from my successes. So let's take a look at what kind of value does Exotic Car Hacks really provide. 4 hours of step-by-step video training. Yes, that's me, and yes, that's one of my most missed Ask the Market Man questions. You may have seen it on my YouTube channel, but 4 hours of step-by-step video training. Now, I said 4 hours, and it's important to understand, but while the 4 hours is a core training, there's really over 10 hours of real video content. 4 hours is just a step-by-step video training and the basis you need to get started. Everything you need from, it doesn't matter where you live or anything else, it's all covered here. So you understand what works in what countries, how, and also, how cars depreciate, how to identify the right cars to buy, also how to inspect cars. Everything you'll need is right here in the 4-hour step-by-step video training. The other thing that I'm really proud of is my comprehensive car buyer's guides. These guides are incredible. There's no guide anywhere on the market. I don't care which forum you look at, which website you look at, which car websites are out there. There are no buyer's guides that are nearly as good as the buyer's guides I have. Why? Because these buyer's guides come from real world experience. And it's not just a collective experience of one person. It's a collective experience of hundreds of people who have owned these cars. And they've been surveyed. We've talked to them. We've done the math. We've talked to dealerships and their repair techs that work on each of these cars. And we've gotten a lot of data for you. Which years to avoid, which years to buy, which options to get, what to look out for, which years have the worst repairs, which ones have the best, what does the maintenance look like, all of the things you need to know. It's like one place, one thing you need to read, and it's like you become an expert on the car. And these are just some of the examples of the cars we have. The 458 Italia, very popular, the Lamborghini Murcielago LT640, the CLK63 Black Series, Bentley GT, Maserati Quattroporte, multiple Aston Martins, the GTR, a very popular car amongst many people. All of these are listed in our buyer's guides, and we're always adding more. The more experience we gain, the more we create buyer's guides that help you guys understand everything you need to know about that specific car. There's a lifetime update of bonus modules, and what I mean by that is we created Exotic Car Hacks as a platform, not just a product. So a lot of the things we do is constantly improving the platform with more video lessons that are relevant to today. And of course, our insider members are not going to be charged more to gain access to the same video lessons. So we're constantly improving the program and adding more video lessons so that you guys can actually get up-to-date information that helps you make better deals. Because we want our members to be lifetime members. I want you to come back on the site even after you buy your first exotic. Because the key to being effective buying and selling exotics is to be knowledgeable. And I keep dropping more and more knowledge for you, such as, what are my thoughts on importing and buying cars from Canada? Are my tax earnings important? How do I position a great sales ad? Does ECH work on normal cars? Many of our members want to buy cars for their family members using the strategy, but they don't want to buy exotics. So they want to know these things. And we've put together more and more videos that keep getting released every week, every other week on these topics that are important to you guys. And there's ways for you to ask us for topics to cover too. And when more than one person asks, we typically cover it in a great video for you. Now, this is probably the biggest tool you can use here, which is access to our members-only Facebook group. Each insider member gains access to this incredible Facebook group where not only other members interact with each other, but some of these members happen to be other dealers. And this is important because many of you, and many people always argue that you need to be a dealer to successfully sell cars, or you need to have access to Manheim and some of these other auction data things. But reality is, if you are not a dealer, it's hard to have these things. And so, we have this group where we have plenty of dealers who are helping normal people make deals on their cars. This is important because here's an example. Alex is a dealer, and he's posting in a Facebook group that he went to an auction and that there was a big list of exotics, and he posted all the selling prices and the odometers and everything else, and he wants members to see what cars are selling for. So how do you think that makes a member feel if they're like already looking for a car and they think they're negotiating something good, and suddenly they see this list pop up and they're like, wait a minute, I could be losing an additional $8,000 because I thought I was getting a good deal, but now I'm not, because Alex just posted this list and shows me that the dealer just bought this car for $8,000 less. So now that member is going to save an additional $4,000 or $5,000 on that deal just because they're equipped for it. And so this is the key to having a community support one another in doing this. And we've done a really good job so far. We have over 1,000 members in this community, and all of them do a really, really good job at helping one another and answering each other's questions, and not even mentioning that I myself participate in the community on a daily basis. So I answer a lot of our members' questions every single day. Now, the private case studies on my personal flips are important too, and they're all included here. They're included for a few reasons. A, I want you to see what I'm working on myself, because it's important to understand that this strategy, a lot of people always give people a teaching crap about, you're teaching something because it doesn't work anymore. No, I'm still doing this. I've been doing this for over 10 years. I'm still doing it today. Meaning I'm still driving exotic cars. I'm still slipping out of exotic cars. Some I'm winning, some I'm losing. And this is your opportunity to see which ones those are. And this is very important because I want you to see my mistakes and my successes, and I want you to be able to understand which cars I'm doing well with or not. The more you can see this, the more you can get a real idea of what is the cost of ownership, and at what time was what car traded, and how was it found, and so you understand the context of some of these flips. I share very detailed concepts behind my personal flips, so you guys understand everything from how much money I've made to how much money I've put into the car and everything in between. It's important for you to understand how I do things so that you can learn from that just as much as you can learn from all those videos and buyer's guides I put out there. Now, my personal network of private resources is also available to all insider members. Now, anything from people who have bad credit and don't understand how to actually fix their credit, to getting help on the financing. How about every shop I've ever used for PPI private purchase inspection reports? Every shop I used to lower my repair cost by 70%? Like, that's crazy, right? All of that is yours to use. I want you to use my network because I've built that network with experience, and I want you to not get ripped off when you're learning and going through the ropes, right? I want you to learn. And so my goal is to facilitate that learning as best as I can. My one-on-one consulting, anyone that goes through my course and says, hey, you know what? I still don't get it. I need more help. Like, I need to really sit down with you and make sure that I'm getting this. Well, you can do that with one-on-one consulting. Or, you know what? You're like, hey, PJ, I need you to negotiate my first deal for me. No problem. We got a car finder service for you. We'll find it, we'll negotiate it, and we'll bring it straight to your door. So you gotta think that we are here to help you be successful flipping exotic cars. And we want to push people to flip their exotic car as fast as they can for the first one. Because, hey, you know what? I like hearing stories. Like, you've seen some of these stories here. I like hearing many of you sending me or tagging me in posts and saying, hey, listen, I bought my first car. I love it. I'm excited. I love that. So I want more of that. And so, which is why I want you guys to really take advantage of this. Now, so here's what people get when they're part of the Exotic Car Hacks Insider Program. 4 hours of step-by-step video guides, which we've talked about, which now is over 10 hours. Comprehensive car buyer's guides, lifetime updates on constant bonus modules, access to that incredible Facebook group I just showed you, access to my private case studies for personal flips, and of course my entire network of personal resources. And if something's not in my network, you can technically ask on the Facebook group, and you'll see that I'll either respond or someone else will respond because they already heard it from me before. Now that has a total value of $15,000 because that is the average I actually save people on their first deal, $15,000. So if I can save you $15,000 on your first deal, would that not be incredible? Like, you know how many people go in and buy exotic cars thinking they're making a good deal and they're still leaving 10 to 15 grand on the table? That's before they talk to me. So now you have an opportunity to actually learn everything I know, so that you don't have to be that person leaving $10,000 to $15,000 on the table. So I created Exotic Car Hacks because I want more people driving exotics. So that is why I won't allow you to lose 15,000 plus on your next deal. I just don't want you to be that guy. I don't want you to be the guy who gets excited about buying his car. He drives home. He talks to one of his dealer friends a week later at a car meet, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, you overpaid for your car by 15 grand." And then you feel like shit. Like you feel like complete shit. You were on the biggest high because you bought your first Lamborghini, and then you find out you overpaid, and you're probably going to lose money when you sell it, and you're pissed. And I don't want you to go through that. I just don't want people to feel like shit about their first exotic car, which is why I really don't want you to lose $15,000. I want you to learn my strategies. Now, these are first-time exotic owners, people who never owned an exotic car before. And I've particularly highlighted them because I want you to see that you don't have to be a millionaire and you don't have to have owned exotic cars to be able to become one of these people. Because these are real people who are getting into their first exotic cars that they never thought possible, and as a result of it, are able to successfully use this program. Van says he picked up this 2002 911 Turbo with 19,000 miles last week. Learned my lesson on a Porsche we purchased from a franchise Honda dealer last fall that had a fried clutch and had an actual PPI done on this one. So with my strategy, he ultimately learned not to lose money because he had made mistakes before. And so he got in his first turbo, and as a reason, he did it in a way that he actually was able to guarantee his way out later without any additional costs. Hassam here, an early Christmas present was added last week to the family. Many thanks to Pejman, 2013 458 Italia, carbon seats, carbon fiber racing package, a few other options here and there. Now the GTR will have a finer sibling. Again, I don't consider the GTR an exotic. Don't start fighting me on this, but Hassam got his first, real exotic with the badge. This was a Ferrari 458. He's always wanted one. He looked for about 3 weeks for this car. So again, lots of going back and forth with myself and other members in the group to just get the right car. It took a little bit of work, but he's into it, and I wanted you to see that. Wade, many thanks to PJ and the crew at ECH for the info they have provided, which allowed me to get into the first exotic, a 2011 LP550 2-bicolore with only 2,000 miles. This has literally been a childhood dream come true and certainly won't be the last. And Wade, this is exactly what we love to hear. These are the things that we want people to see. It doesn't have to be a childhood dream, meaning it doesn't have to be a dream anymore. If you wanted it when you were a kid and you're not a kid anymore, well, you can come get it. It's here, it's available, and it's doable. All you have to do is understand the knowledge and the concept so that your childhood dream doesn't turn into a nightmare and end up leaving a bad taste in your mouth and making you never want an exotic again. I don't want you to be that person. Alan here. Big thanks to PJ and the ECH for helping me buy my first Lambo. With my B-Day coming up, it was a nice gift to myself and personal accomplishment to buy one in my 20s. For the week at least, laugh out loud. It is a 06 Gallardo with 15,000 miles in every option, and of course a 6-speed manual. I drove it for 9 hours home through the treacherous Utah cold winters into scenic and beautiful Nevada and Arizona desert, where it will finally it'll reside in LA with him. Car ran like a champ and didn't skip a beat. Thanks again. Gallardo 6-speed, pretty rare. He's not going to lose $1 on that car. He's going to be able to sell it no matter how many miles he puts on it in the next 2-3 years for exactly what he paid, if not more. These are the type of stories, guys, that get me excited. I just get excited to hear you guys be able to get in cars, drive them for free, send me testimonials, and then convince more of you that this doesn't have to be a dream. This is the key. Exotics are like Legos, and they're real, meaning you can actually play with them, you can touch them. It's not a big deal. You just have to understand how they work and what the knowledge is behind them, so that you have to understand how to leverage it to your benefit. Here, Jimmy, first drive impression. Holy fuck, this thing is awesome. I know they aren't for all taste, but to my needs, the car's perfect. I might be done hacking for a while. He finally fell in love, so you never know. Maybe he just, doesn't want to get another car. He loves it so much. But he again thanks me, thanks to all the ECH members who have helped him. Again, this is the key. It's not just me, though. It's all the ECH members that are helping each other based on their knowledge. So this would not have happened without y'all. I'll write up some more later, but it's a 2014 Cali with only 9,000 miles. Lots of upgrades. I mean, it's a beautiful color combo. I think this is one of my favorites personally. And again, this is the key. He was able to get zero down financing for 3.75 for 84 months. Again, and he got rid of his R8. Again, I love this. I love stories like this. Now, Steve recently, after signing up on the Black Friday deal, I can't believe that it really worked. Again, this is an entry-level car. Pejman introduced me to this whole new world. Last Friday, I was able to purchase one of my dream cars. I was able to land the deal at zero down, $36,000 for 84 months at $499. Look at this. The price of this car was $44,900. He was able to negotiate the car almost $10,000 off. Almost $10,000 off, people. That means like 20% off the deal here. And he was able to do that, again, with zero down. And he's going to pay for Maserati Quattroporte probably less than $500 a month. I just want you to understand how possible this is. He was a non-believer. He became a believer. Now, I said this before, and I'll say it again. I told you earlier, all of this is possible. You just need the knowledge. Now, part of this program is, of course, to understand the difference between selling prices and asking prices. You saw that on the Maserati, and I promised you earlier, for those of you that stay, that I would give you a free lesson, right? So I said I'd give you a gift for staying until the very end. And so in order to claim that free gift, which is a bonus lesson that I've put together, this is a lesson similar to some of the extra bonus modules you would find in the ECH course itself if you were an insider. But because I promised you this gift for free, I haven't really released this video lesson anywhere else, so I'm just going to have you guys be able to download it, watch it, and understand a little bit more about the difference between asking and selling prices. This is a 9-minute bonus video on how to differentiate the two. Please go to the link exoticcarhacks.com/A as in Apple, V as in Victor, S as in Sam. So again, exoticcarhacks.com/AVS to get this free lesson. Again, this is just one of the types of lessons that you would find in the Exotic Car Hacks course as an insider. And I want you to understand just a little bit about the difference between asking and selling prices, which is why I've given you this lesson completely free as a thank you for staying on with me here today. Alright guys, so now you have two choices. Earlier you had a choice to choose between, leasing a CC or an Audi R8. But now you have a choice to either look like that dude. I don't know why he looks that busted though, with his 2 thumbs up, whatever, in front of his Ferrari. But maybe he's excited. But let's forget the dude. You want to be the guy in the Ferrari, or you want to be this other really random dude with a tie that looks like he's having a really bad day with his Mazda protege. So, you really have a choice here to choose if you want to be the person that keeps watching everything from the sidelines and seeing other people drive exotic cars, or really get the knowledge you need to understand how to get in and out of exotic cars for fun and to actually make a few bucks on the side while you're doing it. So it's really up to you. You can either invest in yourself and take action towards buying, I should say, not really building, you're not speccing it out. Buying your dream car and saving money in the process and even making some money. Or you can, again, choose to go back to the ordinary style of things, buy a really cheap car or lease a very ordinary car and then go back to losing money on cars as a liability. It's up to you, but the knowledge has now been created and it's now ready for you to take action. The special offer we have for you today is everything you've seen here today, you've heard me talk about, and me saving you over $15,000 in your first deal. 4 hours step-by-step video training, the comprehensive access to my buyer's guide, lifetime updates, the bonus module, access to the members-only Facebook group, my private case studies, my entire network of resources, and we've discounted it $200 instantly for you guys who are ready to get into an exotic car. If you are ready to get into an exotic car and are ready to change the way you think about the exotic car market, I've even backed it with a 100% money back guarantee to make sure that you understand that the training here we have is serious. Meaning this isn't just a basic training that's just there because we think it's cool to know about the car market. I want more people in exotic cars, and therefore I put a 100% money back guarantee for 14 days to help you gauge, how impressive the content really is. This offer for $297 will end at the end of this webinar. So I'm going to be taking your questions. I'm offering you a $200 discount if you're ready to take action today. And so I am going to be offering that savings to you only during this webinar. So I would like you to take full advantage of this. I would like you to take full advantage of the $297 program right now, and I will be answering your questions while this offer stays up on the screen. So it's very, very important. And then remember that the $297 is going to give you access to everything you see here. And there's one other option at checkout that is going to give you the opportunity for $15 a month to actually gain access to my private list of exotics, bargain, luxury, and SUVs each month that I send out weekly on the best cars with links to the right cars to buy in the market and what you should pay. So if you're the type of person that's like, hey, I learned the training, but I need more hands-on help, remember to take advantage of the newsletter. It is not mandatory. If you're unsure by yourself, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, go through the training first. You can always add that on later. But if you're ready to commit to yourself, you're ready to invest in yourself, and you're ready to be in an exotic car in the next 30, 60, or 90 days, then go ahead and pick up not only the course, but the newsletter, because it's going to help you start getting some perspective and understanding the kinds of prices out there on these different cars. So now go ahead and use the chat box and enter all of your little questions. Any questions that you put out, I will do my best in the next 30 minutes to answer them, to answer as many of them as I can. Now, please keep in mind, this is really important, that this offer will end as this webinar ends. So I would like you to take full advantage of this $200 off saving by putting in the coupon leasing sucks at exoticcarhacks.com/webinar sale. Again, exoticcarhacks.com/webinar sale, and use coupon leasing sucks, all in capital letters, for $200 off. That's an instant saving. We typically sell this course for $500, $497. We're giving you $200 off instantly at exoticcarhacks.com/webinar sale. Again, with coupon code leasing sucks. And everything is once again backed by a 100% money back guarantee for 14 days. So you have nothing to lose if you're serious about getting an exotic car. And I want to be that guy that saves you $15,000 on your next deal. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And now I'm going to go ahead, and I see some of you have posted questions, so I'm going to start answering them. If you have questions, feel free to include them on the side again, and I will do my absolute best to answer as many of them as I physically can. Now, the first question comes from Mariel. I never owned a car. How would insurance for an exotic car work? Well, believe it or not, exotic car insurance is actually not that expensive. In most cases, we teach you a lot of strategies to lower it and which companies to use as an insider in our course. However, you have to understand that many of insurance companies have special guidelines for exotic cars, such as mileage driven, as well as the type of usage that ends up lowering the cost of insurance. Now, if you have a bad driving record and are the type of person that gets speeding tickets every week, yes, exotic car insurance is going to be more expensive than a normal car. But if you're a good driver, then you typically don't have to worry about that. Lamar asks, I understand the logic behind ECH and wealth transfer. Do you do this with other assets, transferring money into assets? I mean, yes. So what Lamar is talking about, for people who may not understand what wealth transfer is there's a systemology or strategy that I teach at this other course I have called Watch Conspiracy, which can be found at watchconspiracy.com, where I teach people how to transfer wealth into assets such as watches, cars, and everything else. Now, that particular course is completely different from exotic cars, but it focuses on this idea of wealth transfer. And so the wealth transfer systemology, Lamar does work with watches, It also works with other luxury goods like such as some women's handbags. But for the most part here, we're talking about cars, so it does work here with exotic cars. Palmer asks, what was the least expensive value car that you've ever used with the system with? We've done this many times with cars like the C63 AMG, Jaguar S-Type Rs, as well as the Mercedes SL55, all of which are below $20,000 or $30,000. So remember that the more expensive the car, the more margin, but obviously, can you start small? Of course, you can start with many cars under $20,000 and $30,000. Then Marcus asks, best search engine for finding car? Does Exotic Car Hacks have one other than the emails that you're giving recommendations? Yes. We actually break down all of the search engines you can use to find the cars and the listing agents. There are many, such as AutoTrader, Cars.com, eBay, etc., which are the more known ones. And you don't have to have the email list that I send out. And while it's very beneficial, you are not obligated to have it in order to know how to do this. Daryl asks, do you ever tailor your course teaching towards businesses versus individuals? I do not necessarily break down the two, meaning there are sections in the course, in the insider section, that are geared towards business owner, and there's other parts that are geared towards everybody. I tend not to do that because I know a lot of people sell courses for more money to people who own businesses, and I don't think that's fair. So everything is in one place, regardless if you own a business or an individual. You're going to have a lot of value no matter what. Rod asks, what kind of credit score do you need to get an 84-96 month financing on a 90K car? Typically, you only need a 650 and above, but to get a really good rate, you'll need a 700 and above, if not a 680 to really get qualified for extensive financing if the car is older. Carmine asks, what do you think about modding cars? Many people are scared of adding features to a 150K car. Any ideas? I don't think anybody's afraid to add features to a 150K car. I think that you have to add the right features, not the wrong features to a 150K car. So, modding cars is a good thing. I mod all my cars. You saw earlier a case study with my Maserati, which had HRE wheels. I think that it's important to understand that correctly modded cars do better than stock cars. But it also depends on the car that you're buying. If you're buying a collectible Ferrari, then no, you don't want to mod it. Okay, next question. Gerardo asks, have you ever tried putting a large down payment on a car to reduce the interest rate? No, we don't actually need to do that. Many of the things we teach in Insider course teach you why it makes more sense to not put any larger amount down, and why the interest rate is completely irrelevant, even if high in the beginning stages. Adolfo asks, you have an amazing video on YouTube where you take this kid to buy his first exotic car. He was the cameraman, and he was willing to pay $1,700 a month, and you told him too much, only $700 a month. Why did you change from $1,700 to $700? And then tell the owner that he was looking for a car for under $1,000. Okay, so this is a complicated question, but I'll try to make it simple. So the YouTube video was a point of view experience of a person wanting to buy a Porsche and some of the right questions to ask, etc. One of the strategies I use in negotiating a car is when I'm sitting and talking about the car itself, I never want to set a hard deadline of what the person can pay. Because remember, we're not buying price, we're buying value. And so the point was not to qualify or disqualify, but rather give a range that we wouldn't be interested in going to more than that. And so the key again is to understand a lot of the strategies I teach in the course on how to make sure you can lower the price of the car. And that's kind of why I did that. Kareem asks, how to avoid paying sales tax? In my case, Illinois, it's 10%. So there's a few loopholes we teach in the Exotic Car Hacks course to help you do what we call recycle your taxes. Meaning you'll pay them one time and then you will not have to pay them as long as you keep moving up to the next car. So in other words, if you bought a $100,000 car and you're looking to buy another $120,000 car, you would no longer pay the 10% on the $100,000, but only on the difference between that and the new car. We teach you that in the course as well. Now, Gary asks, where can I see an overview of the members area before joining? Gary, I just gave you an overview of the members area before joining, meaning you just got a glimpse as to what is included. You're backed by a 14-day money-back guarantee. If you join and for any reason you don't like it, that is okay. You're welcome to just shoot us an email and get your money back. And again, thank you guys for joining us. I see a lot of you are taking advantage of this offer, and I appreciate you for that. Special thank you to Marshall for jumping on right now. I just saw the sale come through, so I appreciate you, brother, for supporting Exotic Car Hacks. It's very important to me to have more of you in exotic cars, and I appreciate when people are willing to invest in themselves. Next question. Herbert asks, which companies have you seen do 84-month loans? 84-month loans are typically done by a lot of different credit unions. There's certain strategies we teach in the course that actually teach you how to get 84-month loans from people who don't advertise them. So it's all in there. And again, these are all available to you. I'll give you one of them. For example, PenFed Credit Union allows you to do an 84-month loan, but again, it may not be listed on your site. Let's see, Nick asked, without actually buying from a dealer, how can I tell if a dealer is honest, fair, and non-scammy? Well, you don't have to buy from a dealer to get ripped off. We have a list of dealers that are blacklisted, meaning that you don't want to act with or do business with. That's the first place to kind of make sure that you're not falling for that. But then in the course itself, we actually teach you not only methods of identifying dealers, but also understanding what are the red flags when buying from a dealer. So these are, again, key points that are covered in the course as well for you. Roosevelt asks, do you keep these cars for yourself or do you resell them? Personally, I actually buy these cars, and in most cases I use my own strategies, meaning I save a lot of money up front. I drive the car for 6 months or so, and if I don't love it to death, then I will go ahead and get rid of it. If I really love it, then I tend to keep it. I have a tendency to love my Aston Martins, and I tend to keep them longer. And again, it is all subjective, So next, Navila asks, how do you raise your auto credit score besides making your car payments on time? You raise your credit score by more than just making a car payment for a duration of 6 months or more. But there's a lot of ways you can raise your credit. If your credit is bad, first off, we have an actual section in the Resource Center that can help you raise your credit. We've partnered with a company that helps us do that. You can go ahead and go in the Resource Center, click Help Me With My Credit, put in your situation, and someone will reach out to you. There's ways to raise your credit score, such as secure credit, better line optimization, as well as making sure you get any errors removed from your credit. And those are just some of the core things to do to get your credit score up. But ultimately, the more you want, if you want to get into these exotic cars and expensive cars, you'll have to start with a lower dollar and then eventually move up into higher and higher dollar cars. I think that's the key point, Next. Angel asks, what's the quickest way to find the wholesale price on a car? Okay, really simple. So the quickest way is to, I have this strategy that I teach, and I teach on YouTube too. What a car is worth is what a dealer is willing to pay or put a check for. So there's two ways you can do it. A, you can join and have us in the actual community help you do that. But what you do is you post a link to the car you want, and someone in the community will come up and answer in terms of like the actual auction values of the car's trading. And in many cases, you can actually see the car itself traded at auction, what it went for. So that's the best place. The second place is to actually understand that other dealers are interested in the car you may have, and they're going to be willing to pay for it. So what another dealer is willing to put a cash offer on that car for is where the actual wholesale price is on that car. And again, a big thank you to Jewel and Amado for recently joining us. I thank you guys for supporting